been going down. It is now at about 1.4% of GDP. It used to be very high. Why? Because road constructions across the country is not ongoing. So the contribution of construction to our GDP is very low, and that is why our GDP cannot rise to the required level. Now let me move to, I think Honorable Mbugua also asked the same question on pending bills. So it is a question asked by Senator Cherargei, Senator Margaret Kamar. Now, the last question I have here is from Senator Kisang on integrating our revenue collection system for the counties. Again, I think I addressed this question. We have a proposal, we have a mechanism, we have a system we are proposing to the counties, a standardized system of revenue collection. Unfortunately, consensus is yet to be reached. So the moment we agree with the COG, then this will be rolled out and we'll have a system that is standardized, that can now be checked for efficacy. And if it is good, as I think it will be, then it would help address some of the problems that we face with our counties in terms of revenue collection. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Onyonka.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I would like to, first of all, welcome my brother John Mbadi, who we have slogged it out in this house for many years. And I want to say that CS, I'm happy to see you. I know that you and me have brushed each other our shoulders recently, but that was not personal. That was purely business. And I would like to just raise 3 issues. I am glad that you have discussed the issue of revenue collection. My position is that...
Onyonka,
yes.
Under standing orders, you're entitled to ask 1 supplementary question. Just
Thank
one.
you. Thank you. It's one which has got 3 lines.
No, 1 is 1.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. CS, the issue of revenue collection, the contradictions in the IFMIS system, the problem of exchequer releases, and of course, finally, our debt. What do you intend to do with those 3 things? I know you've kind of answered them, but I've tried to link them all together. For example, if we had one simple financial system that is interfacing the county governments, the national government, all departments of government, the foreign service, you would then know who's spending your money, how they're spending it, and where it's going. Do you intend to have such a system so that then we can actually reduce the amount of mismanagement or abuse which has taken place with the system? Thank you, sir.
Senator Oburu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also want to take this opportunity to welcome the CS Treasury to this Parliament. I know when I was there as an assistant minister, he used to give me very tough questions, and I was struggling to answer some of those questions. And Mr. Speaker, I just want to ask strictly one question, as you have said. This is just curious, Mr. Speaker, that when the team went to China, they only negotiated for payment of Chinese contractors, and yet there are many other contractors who are also who stalled. They have moved out of the construction sites because of pending bills, Mr. Speaker. I did not clearly hear from the CS what they plan to do with these others, and why were the Chinese too selfish just to agree to fund only their own. But if you pay the pending bills, what happens now for further construction? Is it just paying debt for these contractors? And what arrangement is there to make sure that those roads which were funded by the Chinese continue and they are finished? Because that is the interest of Kenyans. We don't want to know whether you have paid them. They are pending bills. Pending bills is only pending, but we want what how the arrangements you have for continuation and completion of those roads, and what will happen to those ones which are not funded by the Chinese, and why they were only funding the ones for their contractors and not the others. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Wah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Very interesting that Senator Oburu is actually asking the question that I wanted to, but I will twist it a bit. Because basically what has happened, then the Chinese have given us a concessionary loan to pay their own people, and you can take care of your people whichever you take care of them. But going specifically to that 36 billion Kenya shillings that you have gotten from China to revive the construction of 15 roads, as you said, I want to ask the CS to check with these people, if we can now, whether those 15 roads, the Kibwezi, Mutomo, Kitui, Migwani, Bodoni Road, is part of the 15 roads that will be revived. Bwana CS, that road is such a pathetic situation. 102 kilometers, they have done almost 180, remaining less than 20 kilometers to completion. The contractor has shipped out of sight. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. How I wish Senator Onyonka was still around. But I just wanted to give confidence to the country that what was seen as differences between me and Onyonka, and maybe even Senator Sifuna, we were just discharging our responsibilities. And these are my friends. We've come from far. Onyonka, we have been with him in Parliament for over 15 years. And so nothing personal. In fact, there was even talk, Senator, that I've lost weight. I just wanted to advise those who are graduating in age that you must keep fit. It is healthy. It's very, very good for your health. So I've deliberately been cutting that weight. And I'll continue to cut. It has nothing to do with the pressure, stress. There is pressure, yes, at the Treasury, no doubt, but it is not something that is insurmountable. It's something that I'm prepared for, and I continue to discharge my duties. I agree with Honorable Senator Onyonka on the contradiction in our various financial systems. You can have many financial systems addressing specific issues, HR, other issues like payment system, but what the answer is in integration. IFMIS was supposed to address this, but I think IFMIS has some failures or weaknesses which must be dealt with. So we are actually looking at integrating our systems so that we have a system that you can have a clear view, that you can, the visibility of transactions are very clear. We are also doing it with KRA. Mr. Speaker, there is a program that we have in place to make sure that KRA in terms of tax collection is improved and enhanced. Even this afternoon, we have a briefing session on the same. We want to make sure that all VATs are paid, that all rental income, which we are only collecting 17 billion, Mr. Speaker, and yet the potential is 101 billion or thereabout, and many others like personal income tax, Mr. Speaker. Personal income tax in this country, professionals in this country who are not very poor, Mr. Speaker, don't pay as much as people who are salaried pay because the visibility is not clear. So this integration of the system is key. Let me address the issues raised by my senior, Senator Oburu, and actually my mentor. Those who may not know, the only senior politician who campaigned for me when I was coming in for the first time is Honorable Dr. Oburu Oginga, and I still owe him a lot for that. He has brought me to where I am. I want to address this issue of Chinese contractors, and that is also the same question that Senator Wambua asked. Let me just explain how the Chinese contractors, the Chinese government, through China Development Bank, agreed to take up some of these contracts and pay. Previously, we are aware, especially during President Kibaki's time, that Chinese government used to fund a lot of road constructions in this country. They were giving us funds and bringing their contractors. That was one of the conditions. But along the way, we shifted our attention from road construction funded by Chinese contractors to other areas like SGR, geothermal, etc. So very few of the roads in this country from the time President Uhuru came into office have been contracted or done by funds from the Chinese government. Most of the roads that we see Chinese contractors engaged in are funded through Government of Kenya funds. Now, it became almost impractical for us to be able to finance all this road construction, both by Chinese contractors, other contractors from elsewhere, and even the Kenyan contractors. So what happens is that we have a budget every year of about 50 billion for development under the State Department for Roads. But the bills, the pending bills, as I mentioned earlier, is 167. So you need not less than 3 years just paying pending bills. That is why the government came up with a strategy to take contracts that were under or in the hands of Chinese contractors in terms of road construction and negotiate with Chinese government if they could be funded from their money through concessionary loans. There are so many contractors. In fact, the total amount of works, both pending bills and what should be done, which should be done by Chinese contractors, is so much money. Now what happens is that Chinese were only able to agree to 36 billion, and the criteria was that the roads should be not those ones which have graduated or have been developed to a certain percentage. I think it was 25%. So those roads which less than 25% had been done are the ones that were onboarded to this facility. So Senator Wambua, I may need to check whether Kibwezi Mutomo Road is a part of this. But I know that many roads done by Chinese contractors are not in that list, including a road which is in my own constituency, was also left out in that list. Mr. Speaker, what is the strategy? I think Senator Oburu ended by asking me to clearly state how then the other roads would be funded. Mr. Speaker, if the 7 shillings increase in fuel levy fund is allowed to continue, we have a strategy to securitize that amount, and because we'll be collecting about 30 billion per year, securitize it and then pay off the pending bills